Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's audio recording. I have with me my amazing colleague, Marko. And what Marko and I have decided to speak about today is the value of online therapy. We've come to notice that online therapy has been around for a very long time. However, it's becoming much more popular these days, considering COVID. Now, before we get right into it, I'll give a brief introduction of me and then I'll allow Marko to introduce himself as well. My name is Amanda. I'm from the Positive Thinking Clinic at Walleye Creek. I'm a counsellor, hypnotherapist, psychotherapist, early childhood teacher, NLP master practitioner. I see all ages and I see people in my clinic as well as online. So welcome to all of you who are listening. Now I'd like to introduce Marko. Marko, welcome.
Thank you so much, Amanda. And first of all, thank you for the compliment. It's nice to be recognized by someone I respect so much in the field.
Thank you so much. Can you tell everybody where you're from, what you actually do, and all your credentials?
Yeah, my name is Marko. I'm from Sydney. I've worked as a psychotherapist, hypnotherapist, NLP master practitioner, and strategic coach for the last 3 years. But I've been interested in that field my whole life and started to get educated in this field 15 years ago and have never looked back, really. It's tremendously rewarding work. So, yeah.
And I must say, Marko, given the amount of knowledge that you have, when we have our supervisions, our general conversations, you've really created a world of knowledge within you. And thank you for my compliment. And you're very well respected for all of the learnings that you've acquired over time. I see that you've exercised excellence and allowing yourself to learn from a diverse variety of teachers. So very well to you too. Now, Marko, both you and I, we do online therapy.
Yeah.
One thing that I've noticed is a little bit of hesitation. For example, I have my clinic space and I have my clients who actually attend. And then, as you know, we've been faced with, okay, lockdown time. And so what do we do? People's mental, emotional wellness is just as important. We can't put a pause on that. So I know as an essential service, we can see our clients online. Now, I know that you specialize in online therapy and well done to you there. Everyone would be very pleased to know that. Now, when I have originally asked my clients, would you like to do online or come in the clinic? They have actually hesitated and said, oh, I'm not quite sure if I'll do well online or if it's going to be just as good. Now, Marko, my experience is that online therapy can be just as effective, if not more. I never thought I would say this until I actually practiced it and exercised it. But there's a skill to it as well. It's not just like, oh, well, let's just get on the phone or just do a Zoom or a DoxyMe or a Skype session according to what everyone's legalities are and areas of expertise or confidence. If you do the proper training, as you and I both have, and we have looked at all avenues, all confidentialities, ticked all the boxes, what's your take on online therapy? Have you not experienced it being really personal and successful?
Yeah, I think you raised some really important points there, Amanda. As you know, I'm currently doing some more study with Dr. Marko from the States, and it really got me curious because he said in his training that the signs are that online therapy are even better than traditional face-to-face therapy. I was surprised, like we all were. One of the things I've found, and as you say, that it's been a challenge for us to evolve as therapists to use this new medium effectively, and that's a really good challenge I've found because it allows us to grow as well, which and do what we say. Which is for people to grow, to change, to adapt, because improving mental health is largely about adapting to the changing times. So I got really curious about what Dr. Yapko said, and I did a little bit of research on that. And the research is showing that people are very satisfied with online therapy. There was a recent research study in the States that showed that 92% of people were more satisfied with their online therapy than they were with face-to-face. So it's really interesting. It is a changing and evolving time, and we're all adapting to it. I found it the flexibility of it, the ease of use for people, the removing of boundaries, the physical boundaries of needing to get somewhere, commuting, maybe getting someone to take care of the kids or organizing stuff around work has made it far easier for people. And also it's kind of removed the fear of going somewhere, and because there is sometimes still a stigma attached to mental health, unfortunately. And so for some people, it's often difficult going somewhere and being worried that will I be seen, or what will the place look like? What do I have to do when I get there? And when people are in the comfort of their own home, it removes those boundaries and makes mental health more accessible. So in a nutshell, I think it's been very positive. And certainly in this time of COVID with lockdowns now in force, it's critical. It's absolutely critical, I think.
That's very well said and very well explained. So I'll even add to that. Whilst we've always had the opportunity for those who are not able to physically come in because of physical disability or locality, or because of privacy, and like you said, they don't want to be seen. And some of my clients, they're interstate and choose that deliberately, whether it's my credentials or any expertise that they may have read a blog and therefore thought, I'll go to this school, but I can only do it, for example, via online. But the COVID restrictions, those who used to come in on face-to-face, which I find that hard to say now, because you and I are online. We are actually face-to-face. We can't get any more personal. We are really in our face. Let me be honest, in my clinic, we buy a lot of time where we've got to walk over here. I'll go make you a tea. I'll go get you a water. I'll sit you down. I'll just write up some notes. Whereas when we're actually here face to face, we're doing almost equivalent. Let's say my sessions are about 50, 55 minutes. I might get done online something that would normally take an hour and a half here in my physical space. So there's no room for looking away or for that micro daydream that you might want to do, or checking this or checking that. And so it becomes, like Dr. Yapko said, it's much more effective and personalized. I know that because I practice that as well. And so some of my clients who went online last year, and after lockdown was no longer lockdown, some chose to stay online because the effect, the emotional wellness, the results were maintained, and they found the convenience. And yet now that we've got lockdown currently right now as we're doing this video, and it's now July 2021, and I'm in Sydney when we've got a period of lockdown, I've got more people going online because they're actually feeling more comfortable about it. So let me ask you, well, let's bounce off each other, like we said.
Yeah.
It's really important that we have rules for our clients. We have to have clients understand their rights, their protocol, which platform we're going to use. Some people don't know what online is. And so for those people who are curious and listening to you and I speak, I think it's really important we go through the basics so that anyone who's curious about, would I do something online? Is it good enough for me? Let's tell people or our listeners what's kind of good about online. So I'll start, and you can feel free to interrupt me. Or would you like to start, Marko?
Yeah, well, as we said, I think one of the greatest benefits is that flexibility, and that you can just jump online. Your appointment is, let's say, 11 a.m., 6 p.m., 7, whatever time. And, you're on, and the session is done, and you can move on with your life, because life's busy. People have so many commitments. People have so much to do, that it's just so effective to be able to, unplug from your current happenings and just do the session and go straight back into life. I think that is the greatest thing. You mentioned about the online. People are kind of fearful about perhaps security or confidentiality. Well, there are these platforms. Doxy.me is doxy.me that you use, that our colleagues use, is completely confidential, and all the clinical psychologists and therapists are giving it fantastic reviews because it's a fantastic platform which has confidentiality as an absolute priority, as it should be, because that's of prime importance, of the utmost importance.
And Doxy also has a BAA, so it's like a third-party kind of business agreement, so that you feel that security as well, so that we know that there's compliance. Even though that doesn't really hold for Australia, one day Australia will need to catch up and show compliance for confidentiality. Zoom itself has, since COVID, really tightened its belt for security and for bugs and for confidentiality. The advantage with Doxy is that it's just one link, it's just yours. So you give it to your clients, you never need to change that link. Zoom, I use both Doxy and Zoom, and I don't have a problem with either. I realize I'm using Zoom a lot more for some reason.
What have you found the advantages of Zoom as compared to Doxy, Amanda, or do you find them?
Well, it depends on what account you have. So with my Zoom, I find it friendly for me because I share my screen with clients. So let's say I have a whole bunch of digital resources that I like to use for all ages. So my clients can see. My client, I use music through it. So if we're doing a hypnosis, they're listening to the sound of the music as well. If we're doing a PowerPoint presentation, I'm sharing. So for that reason, and not only that, I don't, like, let's say for you and I, we're recording this right now. And even though Doxy has those features as well, you pretty much pick one or the other. And so there's great advantages for, Zoom and Doxy and other platforms. Other people are still using Skype. I have no comment about anything else. I just know that I'm using Zoom and I'm using Doxy, and I'm quite content and happy with that. So for that reason, even with other ages, you can share a whiteboard. So doing online therapy can be so interactive. You can share files, you can bounce off each other. And I find it very therapeutic. And we can just, like I said, if we didn't get the results, well, then I would say, I can't wait for you to come inside. What's the difference? Some people like to be in a therapeutic space. They like the smell of the room. They like the blanket that they're covered with. Do they like being in a therapeutic space instead of their own home? And then others have adjusted to this new way of doing therapy. Remember, at the end of the day, it's, do you feel better and do you have the skills to do better? And like we're supposed to, all clients get a form with the instructions of what to do if something goes wrong, to identify themselves if actually it's their very first time and I'm meeting them for the first time and I can't identify them. So there's a lot of procedures that go into it. It's not loose ends if you've done the right training. So my suggestion to those who are listening is, do your research. Whilst everyone can do Zoom, find the therapist that's really experienced and done the extra training for online therapy. What do you think about that, Marko?
Yeah, definitely, because it's a platform that you have to adapt to. You have to be creative and do different things, as you said, sharing the screen. The amazing thing for me is, because I was kind of hesitant to start with, but the amazing thing is that you basically mirror the real world. Things like having the whiteboard and writing things on the whiteboard, sharing things on the screen. Essentially, you're mirroring what you would do in a room if you were physically together. So there really are no limitations. The only thing is, as you say, for some people, that therapeutic space being at a clinic anchors them in, and they like to be there and feel that they're just there with the therapist in that room. It's really that room. Although I found that for people, it's quite easy to adapt for that therapeutic space to be the moment that they're looking at you as the therapist in the eye, talking, and it ends up being very very similar, but again, with advantages on a technological level. I found things like music, when we do things, anchoring people in to certain spaces with specific music, interrupting patterns in creative ways. There are so many things that we can do online, which make therapy more effective. I do relate to people who like to be in that therapeutic space. Some people, when getting a massage, they'd rather go to the clinic where they're going to get a massage, and some people would rather have it at home. They're a mobile massage therapist. As the world changes, we inevitably we will adapt. And I think that the online therapy component and becoming creative with it is the way things will go in general in the world. So I think it is key to adapt to that for clients as well, because it's so beneficial and so time effective. That's the reason I'm such a big fan of it. It's that time effective, and people really are busy. People really have busy lives. They've got things to do. They've got families to take care of, careers to create and evolve. And so this is a really powerful method, online therapy, I think. I'm a huge fan of it. I was hesitant at the start, but I'm a huge fan of it now. Yeah. How have you found, Amanda, with your clients, the amount of clients who have moved to online therapy, and as compared to people who just want to stay with face-to-face, person-to-person physically? Have you found that many people have moved over?
Yes, many people have moved over this year. Last year it was an idea. They were curious. They were not sure. I think there's a little bit more confidence in online therapy these days. So I've seen a shift in people's attitudes. What's important is that we know that we have to create the right conditions. For me, whatever the age, and I'll have a kindergarten child, skill building, not because they need therapy, but skill building or practicing some mindfulness. And I'll have a 50-year-old person also doing whatever they need to do with me online. So whatever the age, I recommend headphones. That way, nobody else, not that there's anyone else in here, but the other person can feel secure that it's only going into your ears.
That's right.
And also, if they have headphones on, I know that they're paying attention to me, and it buffs out a little bit of the other noise. I expect and suggest private room. We've all seen people try to do it through their cars or etc. And if it's not going to be, and if that's going to work for them, and if that's all they can do, okay. But really, I like quiet space. Telephone on silent, headphones, get yourself comfortable, have your drink, make sure your internet is fine, etc. And that way we know that there's a number of steps to take. And so, yeah, I find that online has become, it's really excelled, because kids as well had no choice but to do online school. So now kids, I don't know any child that hasn't been exposed to Zoom. So now where I usually run online workshops for anxieties or for homework and focus, or for the HSC kids, the high school senior kids, now they're actually okay about getting online with me and doing something. It's becoming a little bit more acceptable, normal. And so it's nice to actually have the option.
Yeah. It's amazing that for kids and for the newer generation, let's say, it's actually normal. This is actually completely normal. They have no hesitation with it. It's really, for those generations that didn't grow up with it, it's a process of adaptation. But yeah, I find it amazing with the younger generations, how for them it's like, yeah, of course, why would I even go into a clinic? I'd rather just do this, knock it out, do the session. I'm having a little bit of trouble. Let's have a chat.
Funny enough,
let's get out of the water so you can move on again. And
we've just had school holidays now. I was going to have skill building workshops here in my clinic, and then lockdown came just in time for the school holidays. I transferred everything to online and cannot believe that I had more booked in Look, it might be because parents thought, oh, my child is going to be bored, I'll book them into Amanda to do some skill building or whatever it is. But some of the parents that said, well, I'm not sure if they'll sit and pay attention. Hold on a second. They sit online on their games for hours, do they or do they not? And so I already know, give them headsets. And of course, I'm going to have to, I have props when I have kids. I have toys out, I have puppets, I have whatever that's going to make them smile and feel. Because really, we sneak in the therapy, don't we? We sneak in the skills. It's not always conscious learning. But what I must say is those, and this is for our listeners, those who are curious, give it a try. Now, anybody who was interested in trying out me, you can contact me on amanda@positivethinkingclinic.com.au or through my contact form on positivethinkingclinic.com.au. What about you, Marko? How can people contact you?
Yeah, if you're interested in contacting me, you can contact me at Marko, that's with a K, Marko, at performancehypnotherapy.com.au, or alternatively on my website, performancehypnotherapy.com.au.
And I must say, you're very welcome. I must say, I do encourage people to go on your website and have a look, because you've got such wonderful stuff for people to really broaden their awareness on what performance hypnotherapy can mean, and all the tips and techniques and all the therapies that you can help people with to get unstuck. So on that note, thank you so much for getting online and having this wonderful conversation with me, Marko. I hope the listeners found this very useful.
Thank you, Amanda. It's an absolute pleasure. And again, thank you for inviting me on. Always happy to speak with you. And it's actually a great honor, of course.
Thank you. I'll see you next time.
Thank you. See you next time.